My name is Yuichi Ikeda, Kyoto University. I am a session chair of this keynote session. Okay, so it is great, our honor to introduce two prominent keynote speakers today in this BCK22. Okay, so first of all, I need to ask speakers. You have 30 minutes for your presentation, including short Q&A. Okay, so I want to introduce the first speaker. Okay, the first speaker is Mr.VitalikButerin. He is a co-founder of Ethereum and researchers at the Ethereum Foundation and an entrepreneur. In 2013, he published a white paper outlining the idea that shaped Ethereum. And in 2011, he co-founded Bitcoin Magazine. Okay, so he's so Mr. Vitalik-Buterin, floor is yours.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Today, what I wanted to talk about is some of the things that are happening in Ethereum in the next, like maybe 1 to 4 years. So this is a lot of us are very excited about. So a lot of people are very excited about the merge, for example, the full switch to a proof of stake. People are excited about rollups, about sharding, about scalability. Also, I want to talk about this from the perspective, like less of like the details of the technology, but more from like what this means to people and organizations that are doing and building things on Ethereum. So the merge is coming soon, right? The merge is this very big transition to proof of stake that's happening in Ethereum. And the switch to proof of stake is something that we have been working on for a very long time. Research into proof of stake started in 2014. The paper for Casper FFG was published in 2017. And work on the current version of proof of stake, what we call the beacon chain, like actual development, started in 2018. So it's taken a long time. The beacon chain launched as a separate proof of stake chain about 1.5 years ago. And what's going to happen very soon is this event called the merge, where Ethereum will move off of proof of work and onto a proof of stake. All of the transactions, applications, contracts, balances, everything that is happening on the Ethereum proof of work chain today will automatically move and will automatically start happening instead on the proof of stake chain. So this is the completion of the switch to proof of stake. And after this point, Ethereum will be a pure proof of stake system. So this is the first thing that's happening, right? And a lot of people are excited about the merge for various reasons. The proof of stake makes Ethereum more secure. Proof of stake makes Ethereum much more environmentally friendly. It reduces energy consumption by more than 99.9%. And it opens the door to a lot of other further improvements to the protocol. After the merge, the main thing that we'll be focusing on is scalability. And Ethereum's strategy for scalability is this layer 2 focused strategy, where Ethereum layer 1 focuses on providing a lot of space for projects and like anyone who wants to publish transactions to publish large amounts of data. And it is the job of layer 2 protocols like rollups to take this data and use it as a space to put transactions and to like ensure security for the like actual highly scalable computation and scalable applications. So proto-dank sharding is this improvement that's happening soon after the merge, which will add these data blobs that add large amounts of space that rollups can use. So projects like Optimism, Arbitrum, ZK rollups can become much cheaper because they have much more space to put their data. And dank sharding, so full dank sharding, is going to happen like maybe 1 or 2 years after that. At the same time, the rollup projects themselves are going to improve in their efficiency, and they already are improving in their efficiency. So there is this roadmap for using compression to reduce the amount of data that needs to be put on chain for every transaction. So today at the beginning, it was about 188 bytes for an ERC20 transfer. Optimism recently added 0-byte compression, which reduces this to about 154 bytes. ERC4337 is an account abstraction project. It's originally started because of other goals. It started to allow people to make like different types of accounts, which improves safety, improves usability, but it can also aggregate signatures. So you remove the signature, push it down to 128 bytes, better compression reduces this to 75. And if you try really hard, you can reduce this to 23. So what all this means is that there's just a lot of work that's being done after the merge to improve scalability by a huge amount. And when scalability improves, this means more people can use Ethereum. And it also means that people who use Ethereum today have to pay lower fees. So the merge, right? Energy consumption reduced by more than 99%, more secure, opens the path to more upgrades. Proto-dank sharding creates more space for Ethereum rollups, and transactions on rollups will become much cheaper. With transaction compression, transactions on rollups will become even cheaper. So the big question we want to ask is, what can we do with a safer blockchain and a blockchain that has cheaper transactions? So one kind of interesting idea that we can think about is bringing back just cryptocurrency for payments, right? Payments, and especially smaller scale payments, so payments in person, payments for products on the internet, remittances to low-income countries. These were some of the earlier use cases for cryptocurrency. And this is what a lot of people were excited about back in 2013, 2014. And there were these big communities back then. There was this project called Bitcoin22, which basically tried to convince a large number of restaurants in one district of Berlin to all accept Bitcoin, and to basically convince a lot of people to use Bitcoin, to convince a lot of Bitcoin people to move to this one place. And this, I think, ended up failing. And the idea of crypto payments, I think, ended up failing. But the reason why it ended up failing, I think a lot of it is because when transaction fees started increasing, cryptocurrency for payments just did not make sense anymore, right? Back in 2013, the argument for why you should use cryptocurrency for payments is that, well, PayPal charges very high fees, credit cards charge very high fees, you have to pay 3% and 30 cents for a transaction, but then soon cryptocurrency started to become more expensive than credit cards. Now, once we have these scaling solutions, I think this is not going to be true anymore, right? And I think we're going to be back to a world where transaction fees on blockchains will be less than 5 cents, maybe less, even less than 1 cent. And so all of these ideas about using crypto for payments, payments in person, payments online, payments for people in low-income countries who wants to do work, payments for remittances, just all of these different ideas that many of which kind of started going very well, but then started failing because of high fees. I think we can trial all of these ideas again. Another really important thing that can come from reducing fees is making blockchains affordable for everyone, right? So I think it's important to remember, especially for those of us who live and spend our time in wealthy countries, that incomes in different places are very different, right? So the median income per day in Canada, for example, is $113. The median income per day in Poland is $42. In Mongolia, it's $16. And in Zambia, it's only $4, right? Now, in the Ethereum transaction fee on average for the last 2 years has been somewhere between $1 and $20. Now, Ethereum is actually cheaper, but I think this is temporary, right? Because now we're in a bit of a bear market. Last year, we were in a bull market, and if we see another and a bigger bull market again, you could easily see these fees go up to maybe $50 or $100. Today with rollups, these fees are lower, so about 25 cents, and sometimes they're a bit lower. Rollups in the future, so rollups with compression, with proto-dank sharding, with full dank sharding, could easily be as low as 0.2 cents to 5 cents. So what does this mean, right? What this means is that someone who is in Mongolia or in Zambia today they would have a very hard time using Ethereum. So I remember I actually visited Argentina at the end of last year. And in Argentina, there's a huge crypto community, a lot of crypto users. And this makes a lot of sense for people in Argentina, especially because Argentina has a huge amount of inflation, right? When I visited last year in December, the market rate of US dollars to pesos was about 200 to 1. And today, it's after only 8 months, it's somewhere around 340 to 1. So inflation is a huge problem. Currency depreciation is a huge problem. And people want to save money. People want to grow their wealth. People want to have savings and do all of those normal things. And cryptocurrency lets them do that, right? But the problem is that cryptocurrency has high fees. And so what happens now, right? What I saw now is basically that everyone who in Argentina who is using cryptocurrency is using it through a Binance account, right? People don't have Ethereum wallets, people have Binance wallets. And Binance is a fully centralized system, and people can do things inside of Binance, and it's fast, and and there aren't any fees for internal transfers. So for people who have lower incomes, basically they have no choice but to use these more centralized solutions, even if they really need cryptocurrency. So if we want to make decentralized solutions possible, then rollups have to become cheaper, right? And this is happening already. So there's, I think, a lot of progress in the last 6 months. And in the next 18 months, I think we are going to see even more progress on this. Non-financial applications. So one of the things that we talk about sometimes is applications for blockchains that are not just financial applications. So ENS is probably the most successful non-financial application of Ethereum, right? Basically, it's a decentralized name system. So you can have an account, you can have a name that anyone can use to contact you, to send you money, to send you tokens, to do to interact with you on chain. And they don't need to get a complicated 20-byte address. They just need to get Vitalik.eth, for example, right? So if you want to send me ETH today, which I don't recommend you do, then you don't have to get an address from me. You just type in Vitalik.eth and you can send it. So this is all a decentralized application running on Ethereum. It's not just useful for sending people assets, right? It can also be used as a login for Web2 applications. So to try to make the Web2 ecosystem more decentralized. So a lot of good use cases, but right now it's too expensive for a lot of people, right? A transaction costs somewhere, last year, I remember it cost $5 to $10. Now, maybe it's cheaper, maybe it's $1 to $3, but it's still too expensive. So if ENS can move to rollups, if we can have more things happen on rollups, and if rollups can be much cheaper, then ENS can be a much broader solution that can attract everyone. Unchained attestations. So soulbound tokens have been a thing that people talk about recently. And there are a lot of instances of this already, right? So there's the Pope protocol, the proof of attendance protocol that gives you a token if you attend some event. There is a proof of humanity. There's this growing ecosystem of these attestations, so claims that say, this is a person, or this account is a person, this account is a person who attended some event, this account is a person who did something. And you can do a lot better governance and a lot of other things by using this. So this is also something that just needs to be much cheaper. Account management. So being able to have accounts where if you lose your key, you can recover your key. So being able to recover your key, this is an operation that in order to be safe needs to be done on chain. Because if you recover your key, but then someone steals your key later, you need to be able to prove that you recovered your key first. right? And this is something that does require a chain to do well, but right now it's too expensive. On rollups, it can be much cheaper. Micro-scale DAOs, so just DAOs as a simple form of organizational structure, as a way to like create something that's like a company or like a nonprofit, but do it really cheaply, do it really efficiently. Let's very easily coordinate people from all around the world. So I think this can be a good use case for many things, but right now it's too expensive, and on rollups it can be much cheaper, and on rollups with some of the improvements that are happening in the next 2 years, it can be even cheaper. Enterprise blockchain use cases, right? So I think people have been really trying to make enterprise blockchain use cases work for close to 10 years now. And I think we are getting to the point where it's possible to do something. Now, I actually, for a lot of these use cases, I don't recommend trying to do them on chain. I even don't recommend trying to make a private blockchain for them. I think the solution that makes the most sense is what we call a Validium. A Validium is like an off-chain system, but where you publish Merkle roots and you publish proofs on-chain. And so the blockchain verifies that everything is done correctly, but you still have the efficiency and the privacy and the flexibility of a centralized system, right? So this is something that you can do today, and it's something that I think makes a lot of sense for enterprise use cases, for companies like supply chain stuff, companies that just wants to kind of publish and verify data regularly, and cheap transactions are what are on blockchains are going to make Validiums even easier, right? So this is something that you can do today, but once blockchains become cheaper, it will become even easier. So some future questions, right? So those are just some examples of what happens when the Ethereum blockchain becomes easier to use, when the Ethereum blockchain becomes much cheaper. And all of these use cases become safer when the Ethereum blockchain becomes safer. And when Ethereum becomes like more environmentally friendly, I think that just makes it a lot easier for more people to be willing to use Ethereum applications. So there are other improvements to Ethereum that are coming, right? So for example, we've been starting to research more and more how we can do better to make Ethereum provide fast confirmations, right? So instead of a transaction confirming after 2 minutes, a transaction should find ways for a transaction to confirm after 30 seconds, after 10 seconds, ideally even after 1 second. So what will that unlock, right? And basically, what will the greater usability that comes from fast confirmations bring to Ethereum users? What will improvements to privacy unlock, right? So right now, there's a lot of work happening with zero-knowledge proofs. There's a lot more zero-knowledge proof applications happening. What will we get from having more of these applications that can have better privacy and better security at the same time? Another question might be, what will better middleware applications unlock, right? So one of the things that's very powerful about Ethereum is this idea of composability, that applications can talk to other applications, and applications can plug into and use other applications. And there's a lot of applications that do get used by other applications already. So stablecoins are a good example. It's an application that often gets used by other applications. Proof of humanity, like this on-chain proof that you are a unique human, is a middleware application. On-chain arbitration, so either Kleros or some alternatives to Kleros, are also middleware applications. So potentially successful DAOs that provide services that could be used by other applications, like those might also become middleware. So one more question that's worth asking is if we have more of these middleware pieces that get created, that get put on chain, then what do we get by making these applications better? What do we get by kind of actually improving them and having them available as pieces that other applications can use and plug into? I don't know, but I think it's right. So yeah, this is the question that I want to talk about, the question that I want us to start talking about more, and the question that I want to sort of ask everyone in the community, which is, when we have like an Ethereum that is more scalable, when we have an Ethereum that is safer because it's moved to proof of stake, when we have an Ethereum that is faster, that provides better user experience, like not just thinking about the technology and like how do we get there, but also what does this mean for the ecosystem? What does this mean for people building on Ethereum? When we have these things, right? If you are someone who wants to build an application, who wants to do something on chain, what is something that you are not able to do today that actually will become very possible to do 2 years from now? And I think there's a lot of good answers to this. I'm excited for us to start thinking about this more. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us an excellent presentation. Now we have a Q&A for 8 minutes or so. If you have any question, please raise your hand. Okay, please.
Hi, Vitalik. This is Amy from Repo. Thank you so much for your very insightful presentations. So I have a question. So recently there was a community of engineers and scientists in North America, coming out with some statement, kind of indicating their doubt on blockchain technology. And I was really shocked to see that. And I'm really worried about kind of increasing divide between kind of skeptics and also those who are building. And I saw you also kind of share some reaction to that. What do you think we can do to kind of bring those parties together so that we can really work towards a more constructive future?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, at this point, the main thing that the crypto and blockchain industry needs to do to win over more skeptics, isn't just talking. It's just kind of, I think, finishing the technology and building things, right? I do think that a lot of this perception basically happens even because of problems like blockchains being not convenient to use and transaction fees being very high, right? Because when it costs $5 to send a transaction, the only applications that it makes sense to build on a blockchain are applications that involve moving large amounts of money around. And so there are even at $5 per transaction, very good use cases for international payments, but people who use crypto for international payments, they don't talk about it, right? And you just go and use it, and there's no reason to really tell anyone. And so the things that make the most noise tends to be people selling monkeys for $3 million and expensive NFT parties and gambling and all of those things. And so I think actually getting to the point where we can build applications that are useful to people and get to the point where blockchains are actually scalable enough and work well enough that you actually can build applications that are useful to people on top of them. I think at some point that's basically the only way.
Great. Thank you, Vitalik.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other question? Yeah, please.
My name is Yukimura. Thank you for a very interesting presentation. And my question is that currently there are some zero knowledge proof solution like ZK Snarks or ZK Stacks. And so my question is, what kind of requirements do you think to make such a solution more better or efficient to use for mass adoption? Yeah, that is my question.
Yeah, so I think the main thing that needs to happen with ZK Snarks, I think, is that they need to just become easier to use. So there's two use cases of ZK Snarks, right? There's privacy and there's scalability. And for scalability, there's a lot of these ZK rollup projects that are happening now. And the big thing that's happening with ZK rollups now is EVM compatible ZK rollups. right? So ZK rollups that can run in environments that looks like Ethereum. So like they're actually, people can build applications that are just regular Ethereum applications and they live inside of the ZK rollup. And this is like making a lot of progress over the last 6 months. There have been a few announcements about this at EthCC in Paris. I published a post yesterday where I talk about the different kinds of ZK EVMs, and I link to some of the projects that are doing that. So I think there's just a lot of work happening, and those solutions just needs to be like finished and tested and made more safe and made more robust. For ZK snarks for privacy, I think one of the challenges with privacy is that like you have to really change there are sacrifices to usability that you have to make, and you have to like change the model and change how you think about things, right? So like, for example, you can't just have one public account, right? Or you like, if you're building a privacy preserving application, you have to think about like who owns which pieces of data, like who has the right to see which pieces of data. So you can't like just take Ethereum smart contracts and use them as they are. So it's like doing things on the privacy side will just like require people to think much more about these issues, and like it will require people to think more carefully in a way that is not true for if all you wants to do is scaling. So I think the big answer is just there's a lot more technical work to be done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other question from the floor? Okay, so please. Quick questions. Okay.
My name is Akihiro Fujihara from Chiba Institute of Technology, Japan. This is first time for me to talk to you. I'm happy. Thank you. Thank you very much for your talk. And my question is about, I heard the news that after the March, Ethereum moves to the proof of stake chain, but someone concerned that some miners still stay proof of work chain. So Ethereum chain is completely forked. So how do you think about how do you think about this new if you heard this news, how do you think about it? This is my question. So I want to hear your comment.
Sure. Yes. I mean, I think like honestly, the people that are trying to like organize this proof of work Ethereum, like it feels like most of them are just people outside of the Ethereum ecosystem, right? Like we saw like Justin Sun seems to be pushing it pretty hard, and a couple of other people. So it's I feel like within the community there has been a lot of like a very a kind of united mindset in favor of the switch to proof of stake, like basically since the Ethereum Classic split happened. So it feels to me like it's like Ethereum proof of work is going to like if some kind of split happens, it'll attract some very different community, and it will. Yeah, I mean,
so you bet on proof of stake chain.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am like, I'm definitely very confidently predicting that like almost all just Ethereum community members and existing Ethereum applications will favor the proof of stake side. But again, we'll see. Like there could be some different community that really wants a proof of work chain and like doesn't want to be on Ethereum Classic for some reason.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, time is up. So thank you very much, Mr. VitalikButerin. Thank you very much. So yeah, it was a great talk. We enjoyed your great presentation. We learned many things today, this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. See you.